Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to share with you guys a scenario. So let's imagine this. You finally overcame the belief that you cannot be flexible. So you start your stretching journey. You are motivated and consistent, and soon enough, your efforts pay off and you experience that very rewarding moment when you reach your first milestone. Whether it is being able to touch your toes for the first time or being able to put your palm on the floor. So for me, that first milestone came pretty quickly. After a short 30 days of daily stretching, I went from reaching just below my knees to being able to touch my toes. So at this point, you're super excited and happy about the progress. You're so proud of yourself to achieve what you have. But then, what happens? So you continue to do your normal daily stretching routine. But all of a sudden, your progress seemed to have slowed down. You thought to yourself, maybe that's just an off day. So you continue stretching, but nothing happens. Your progress seemed to come to a full stop. 2 weeks ago, you touched your toes for the first time, and now you were expecting to put your palm on the floor at that rate. But now every day just seems to be the same. In fact, some days just touching your toes seems to be getting harder. What is happening? You're starting to get discouraged. Your old beliefs are starting to resurface. How foolish of myself to think that I could be more flexible. This wasn't for me in the first place. Those little inner voices are beginning to come back. Let me reassure you, this is totally normal. In fact, inevitable. So don't let your inner critical voices get to you. The period of time in which you are doing the work but feel like you're going nowhere is called the plateau phase. I also like to call it the plateau syndrome because often during that phase comes a lot of inner criticism and self-doubt. And unfortunately, the process of learning or mastering any skill is comprised mostly of these long and grueling plateau phases, with these rapid spurts of growth so sparingly sprinkled across. And this is known as the mastery curve. This idea of mastery curve is so beautifully outlined in the book Mastery by George Leonard. I highly recommend you read that book. It has completely changed my perspective on skill learning. So the journey of becoming more flexible is no different. There will be these great moments where every single day we feel like our hamstrings are getting longer or our hips are opening up so smoothly. But there will also be a lot of days that's just the opposite of that. And even days where you feel like your progress is going backwards. And that is okay. That is normal. It's a part of this natural learning process. This means if you pursue an activity only for those brief moments of epiphany or glory, but don't really enjoy the activity for what they simply are, then you will get bored and discouraged during those long plateau phases. And it becomes really easy for you to abandon that activity altogether. And I can draw this parallel in so many different activities in my life. Stretching, running, meditating, making these YouTube videos. If I didn't enjoy those activities for what they are and only chased the results, it's only a matter of time before I give up. So this is what differentiates masters from amateurs. Masters practice for the sake of practicing, and that perspective alone gives them the power and diligence to spend a lot of time on the plateau phase while most people abandon. They continue to practice and enjoy even though it seems like they're going nowhere. We sometimes call this the grind, and this is what it takes to improve. So let's just backtrack a little bit and talk about how this is applicable to our stretching journey. When we hit the plateau phase, externally it may appear that we're making no progress at all, but that is not entirely true. Internally, progress is taking place in the form of habit forming. If we continue to show up and we continue to practice despite this plateau, then those behaviors are gonna be turned into habits. And good habits are really powerful and fundamental in changing our lives. Those habits are the fuel for building up to the rapid acceleration of our skills. About a month ago, I achieved a personal milestone of being able to put my palm on the floor. This was really big for me. I was so happy and so excited about what's to come, and it felt like I was going to be able to do the full forward bend very soon. Well, not exactly. For the following month, I was basically stuck on the plateau. I was making no further progress whatsoever, and there were days where, despite my normal stretching routine, I couldn't even put my palm on the floor. I was seriously doubting myself and this whole stretching thing that I started. But then I remembered the mastery curve. I was reminded that this is part of a normal process. I just have to push through this phase. Fortunately, pushing through doesn't mean that I have to keep doing the same thing. I use this as an opportunity to take a closer look at my routine and do some researches on some potential mistakes that I might be making, and also just try new flexibility exercises. So I learned that if you keep doing the same routine over and over again, it's possible that you overuse the same muscles and tendons. So it's actually really useful to change up your routine frequently to avoid muscle overuse. And I also learned about these deep muscle fascia release exercises that I could do with the foam roller that can also be really helpful to push through the plateau phase. So overall, this past month just turned out to be a great learning opportunity, even though from an external point of view, it seemed like I didn't make any progress at all. So I hope this video was helpful for those who are experiencing the plateau syndrome. Just know that this is a phase and it will pass. You're definitely not alone in feeling this way. Things that I would suggest you do in those times: look up different routines, look up different exercises that you can try just to switch things up a little bit, and maybe do some research on specific muscle groups that you're working on to fix potential mistakes. And finally, you can use this time to practice your patience and just keep believing in yourself. I wish you all well and best of luck in your stretching journey. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.